I am Chris Cypert from Citizens Defense Research. I'll be your primary instructor today. I will be assisted by, say hi.
Riley Bowman.
Riley Bowman.
09 Solutions is a member of our holster consortium focused on duty gear for law enforcement officers and for private citizens who are using load-bearing vests. They got all kinds of great stuff. Their radio holder is incredibly cool and really good. Check them out at 09holsters.com in the link in the description.
Briefly about myself, so I grew up in Texas. I joined the Army a year before 9/11, which was a good or bad time to join the United States Army, depending on what you wanted to get out of it. If you just wanted to get some college money, it was probably terrible timing. I wanted to serve my country, do my stint, and I wasn't going to turn down the college money, but 9/11 happened. I found myself at war. I was pretty good at it, so I just kept doing it. Spent 20 years in the Army, most of that time in U.S. Army Special Forces as a Green Beret. My secondary specialty was medicine, and I also did a whole bunch of plainclothes stuff, working in embassies, wearing suits and doing that kind of thing. Now, as far as pistol shooting goes, and Riley and I were talking about this last night, I first started learning how to shoot a pistol well doing the Tactical Turtle in 2004, when that was the right way to shoot. The Tactical Turtle being, you guys have all seen it, this number here, when that was the right way to shoot, because that was the best way to manage and mitigate recoil and so forth. And then over the years, what's up?
And protect your ears.
Yeah, and so, it's also if anybody tries to sucker punch you. But and then just over the years, we've had the evolution of pistol shooting, and I'm actually incredibly jealous of those of you with less experience, because it's often very gratifying to see somebody literally start taking formal handgun classes, and then basically 18 months later, they're passing me in the left lane because they're not fighting 2 decades of bad habits. That somebody be like, "You're dipping your head." I'm like, I know. I shot 1,000,000 rounds dipping my head when that's what you're supposed to do, and now I'm trying to break that habit. So the cool thing is, if you don't have a whole lot of experience, that's actually awesome, because we're building you a house with a solid foundation. Now, to be fair, 20 years from now, as shooting continues to evolve, you'll be trying to break the habits that I'm teaching you today once somebody figures out a better way to build that mousetrap, and that's okay. That's the journey. But today we're going to be talking about recoil management. So with a quality Kydex holster, you tend to get this sound, all right? And normally you wouldn't want to push it in that hard, but I'm trying to make it loud enough for everybody to hear. And that's the trigger guard locking into the trigger guard groove, and that's kind of what secures the holster, and it's all the way in there. If this gun comes out of the trigger guard groove, you're handling your gun. Now, what that means is, if you have a holster where you want to top off your mags, you got a round in the chamber, but you've only got 3 rounds left, and you can reach behind without popping the gun out of the holster at all, and press your mag release, and pull that almost empty mag out, and then put a fresh one in without the gun coming out of the holster, you may do that. But if you have to pop it out and then do it, can't have it, because that's the sound I'm listening for of a gun coming out of the holster. Like if I were a blind person with a gun in my hand and somebody were trying to kill me, that's the thing that's going to cause me to do the Jodie Foster from Silence of the Lambs and go cyclic in all directions. For those of you old enough to get the reference. And so, unauthorized gun handling, if you handle your gun anywhere other than where you're authorized to do so. Where are you going to be authorized to do so? On the line, when the line is hot. What's kind of the rule of thumb? Did you guys hear yesterday somebody say, what does it mean to have your finger in a high register? If you keep your finger off the trigger and in a high register until you're ready to shoot. What is a high register? How do we measure that? Do we have any lefties here?
Oh my.
Always a few. All right, so for you right now, I'm kidding, it's fine. But for you righties, if I can look through the left side of your trigger guard, blue gun. If I can look through the trigger guard, the opposite side of it, I should not see any finger. You can have this is a high enough register. This is a high enough register. This is a high enough register. But the rule of thumb is that, if I look through here and I see finger, I'm going to say finger. We're not going to be doing a bunch of holster work today. The holster is going to be an administrative place to put our gun. We're working recoil management. It's not a draw stroke class. That being said, when can you place your finger on the trigger as you're coming out of the holster? Because some people say until your sights are on target and ready to shoot. Riley, I'm not a pistol competitor. If I waited until my sights were aligned on target to take my finger off of my high register and place it on the trigger, what would that do for my scores? Would I be a grandmaster?
You'd be a little bit behind the curve.
Yeah. If your muzzle is aligned with, in this case, the berm, the target generally, and you've made the decision to shoot and you're extending the gun and you place your finger on the trigger there, that's fine. All right. But if you're not on your way to shoot, having made the decision to shoot, high register. Cool? people will get in the holster and they're like, okay, cool, yep. And then they relax and they look up and they start talking as they do this. The last ½ inch is the dangerous ½ inch. That's where the gun goes bang. Cool? So this is where you need to be the most engaged. The other thing that I see that drives me batty is people will get in the holster, they'll take their fingers off and then go, what have I just done? Rolling into a stop sign, I cut my own brake lines. Because if you do feel resistance and you know, that's not it. As slowly and reluctantly as you possibly can. Cool? And a big thing is like I said, I like to make contact here, work my way in the holster.